Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. We are halfway through this week. Can you believe it? I know I can't. Mainly because I'm recording this in the past and I'm talking as if I'm in the future. Anyway, all right, y'all. Today we are continuing with lesson 10 in our Eureka Math books, and we are moving on to the second part of this lesson, which is I can multiply decimal numbers by using my knowledge of powers of 10 to make numbers easier to work with. Now, yesterday, we thought about how we can use area model to multiply decimal numbers. Well, today, we can use the area model or standard algorithm, but we're going to use our knowledge of powers of 10 to help us out and not have to worry about the decimal right away. All right. So what we're going to need for sure, I don't know why I said faux show. I don't think I'm that cool, is a place value chart. Okay. Because when we're thinking about powers of 10, we're definitely thinking about place value. All right. And we're going to use that same expression that we did yesterday, which is 3 5/10 times 11. Okay. All right. So the thing about this expression is that 3 5/10 is a little hairy to work with, right? It's kind of annoying to have to worry about a decimal, especially when we have strategies and knowledge, like our knowledge of powers of 10, to make these numbers easier to work with. So let's go ahead and represent 3 5/10 on our place value chart. All right, here's our decimal. I'm just going to make this one big 10th box, okay? And let's use ones and tens. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and put this number 3 5/10 into our place value chart. And today I'm going to use numerals because they're easy to work with. Okay. So we are going to do 3 ones and 5 tenths. All right. Now, the cool thing about powers of 10 is that we can use them to our advantage. If we don't want to work with this decimal, let's just make the number so it doesn't have a decimal. But you're saying, Mr. Austin, how do I do that? You're going to have to show me. Well, guess what, friends? I'm getting ready to show you. All right. So here's how we do that. When we think about powers of 10 and place value, we're thinking about numbers getting larger and smaller, okay? And with powers of 10, we're thinking about numbers getting larger and smaller by a power of 10. So 10, 100, 1000, or tenths, hundredths, thousandths, so on and so forth, okay? So what we can do, my hair is looking crazy, I'm just noticing. What we can do is we can multiply this number by a power of 10 to make it so that it doesn't have a decimal, right? Now, I'm curious, if we multiplied 3 5/10 times a power of 10, how many powers of 10 would we need to multiply it by to make it large enough so that it doesn't have a decimal in it? Okay, go ahead and pause and have that discussion. All right, I hope you had a wonderful discussion. What you needed to understand is that since you only had one number, this 5/10 behind a decimal, is you only need to multiply this number 3 5/10 times 1 power of 10 to make it a number without a decimal. And what is 1 power of 10? Well, my friends, it is just 10. So if we multiply 3 5/10 times a power of 10, just 1 power of 10, that means that we're moving our numbers just one place value to the left, because when we move things to the left, they're getting larger. When we're multiplying, our number's getting larger. We multiplied times the power of 10, so our number's getting larger by one place value. Okay, so now we have 3 tens and 5 ones instead of 3 ones and 5 tenths. Okay, but we need to remember that after we have solved this, after we've solved this, that our number is going to be 10 times too big because we multiplied our original number times 10. Okay. So we're just going to keep that in the back of our brains. It's going to be percolating in the back of our brains while we work this out. But for now, let's go ahead and solve this expression. So now I have the expression 35 times 11 instead of 3 and 5/10 times 11. And friends, that is exactly, we've been working with that for weeks. Okay. So I'm going to use standard algorithm today because yesterday I focused on area model. Okay. But we can use the standard algorithm so easily to figure this out. Okay. So we got 1 1 times 5 ones. That's the same thing as 5 ones. 1 1 times 3 tens. It's the same thing as 3 tens. We're not going to have any numbers that are greater than or that are less than 10. So we're not going to have any more numbers that are ones, is what I mean to say. So we're going to cross out our ones place and put a 0 there because we know that we're not going to have any. Then we have 110 times 5 ones. That's the same thing as 5 tens. And 110 times 3 tens, which equals 3 hundreds. Oh my goodness, did you hear my phone go off? What is it? Oh, it's Twitter. Twitter. Anyway, all right. Now we take our partial products, we add them together. In our ones place, we have a 5, an 8, and a 3. Okay? But what's happening? Oh no. Oh goodness. Oh grace. Oh grace. Okay, there we go. But is that our final product, 385? Do you hear that? Do you hear that? I think it's the children going, no, 385 is not our final product. Or maybe they're going, no, 385 is not our final product. I love this thing. Anyway, why is it not our final product? Well, we're keeping it in the back of our brain that we, in order to make this easier on ourselves, we multiplied this number times 10 to make it so that it didn't have a decimal. So now what we need to do is divide it by 10, right? Because the opposite of multiplication is division. So what we need to do then is take this product that we had and divide it by 10. Now, you can go and use the standard algorithm, make it hard on yourself, or we can use our place value chart and make it soups easy on ourselves. Okay, there's our decimal point. Our number 385 tells us that we have 3 in the hundreds place, 8 in the tens place, and 5 in the ones place. And I'm going to be lazy and only make it to 1/10. Okay. Now, when we're dividing, our numbers are getting smaller. They're moving to the right. Correct. If we multiplied by 1 power of 10, then all we need to do is divide by 1 power of 10. So if we're dividing by 1 power of 10, that means that all of our numbers just need to shift over 1. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And our new number is 38 and 5/10. All right. And that, my friends, is the product of 3 and 5/10 times 11. All right. So let's go back to our learning objective for today. See how we did. I can multiply decimal numbers by using my knowledge of powers of 10 to make numbers easier to work with. Friends, countrymen, brothers, sisters, comrades, we have done that. Okay, we've used our understanding of powers of 10 to make it so that our number didn't have a decimal, but then we also used our understanding of place value and powers of 10 to put things back where they needed to go. Y'all are doing amazing this week. Keep it up. Go and be brilliant. And I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.